Today I am going to show you how to make mead. Now mead is it's an alcoholic drink made out of this stuff. Honey, water and yeast. That's all it is. So what I'm going to do is turn this 5 jars of honey into alcohol that I will be able to drink and get pissed with in about a month's time, or 2 months' time, or 3 months' time. It just depends. Now ignore the label on that for now. That says potato wine because I've had a go doing some potato wine, and in there I've got some banana wine which is clearing beautifully. So you can just see there's a pile of shit in bottom, so I need to wrap that again. So I have sterilised this. All this is sterilised. The bottle's sterilised. It's empty at the moment. What I've done, because I've sterilised it, I've just put a tiny bit of water in there, just to stop the air getting into it. And I've got my big pan on the hob with water inside that. So as you can see, just plain old water. Okay. I've got my thermometer, so if I just give you a reading of what the water is now, it's only been on about probably 15 minutes, something like that. Now these halogen rings are fucking rubbish, they're crap, I hate them. I much prefer gas. So let's just get that raised up a bit. So now that's reading 40 degrees. Oh, you can just see it's starting to go down again. Right, so what I intend to do is get the water, you know, fairly warm. I don't know, probably about up to 60 degrees, something like that, I don't know. And then I will then put the honey in. Now I'm going to experiment today. I'm going to use this Allinson's dried active yeast. Now this is for bread, but I'm going to give it a go with this because I haven't got any wine yeast, and we'll see how it goes. But this is Allinson dried active yeast. So there we are. I've got another jar of honey there from out of the cupboard, but I think I'll have enough with that. Now each of these jars weighs 340 grams. Okay, so now I need to just do a quick calculation because I need 4 pounds of honey because I want to make a sweet mead. If I wanted to make a dry mead, I would need 3 pounds of honey, but I want to make a sweet one, so I need 4 pounds of honey. So from our calculations, right, so 340 multiplied by 0.002246 equals, hang on, I've done that wrong, I've only done it for 1, I need to do it for 5. So let's start again. 340 times 5 equals 1700 grams times 0.00220046. Right, that gives us 3.74 pounds. So I'm actually short. So these 5 are 3.74 grams. So pounds, sorry. So that would be, if it's £3 for a dry mead and £4 for a sweet mead, it's got to be, I don't know. So this one here is 425 grams and it's probably 3/4 full. Right, so I'd say it's 75% full. So divided by, what is it, 425. Right, so 75 divided by 425. No, fuck knows. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick that in as well. I tried to work out how much is left in there, but I don't know how to do it. So I'm going to stick the whole lot in. So I'm going to stick all that in. So I'm going to stick in altogether the 5 jars at 340 and this one. There's probably about, maybe, I don't know, there might be 340 in that, I don't know. So that's 6 jars. So let's call it 6 jars at 340. So let's just do this calculation again. So 340 times 6 equals 2040 grams times 0.00220046. So that's 4.49 pounds. So again, £4 for sweet, so this is going to be a very sweet one, let's just say. That's what I'm going to experiment with, and that's what I'll record down. Now, let's get back to this water, because I've waffled for 7 minutes now, so the water might be getting up to temperature. So let's just try the thermometer again. Right, that's shooting way past 40. It's up to 50. It's up to 55. It's nearly, in fact, if I just zoom in on that, that's if my bloody camcorder will do it. It ain't going to do it. Right. There, look, 60. It's just starting to fall down now. So that's reached 60 degrees. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn one of these rings off. So I've turned that little ring off, but the big one underneath the pan is still going. Do you know, that's interesting, because that hob now, to my naked eye, just looks black. But looking through the viewfinder, I can still see the rings, but I can't see them. It's black. God. Anyway, I'm going to add this honey now, so I'll take a quick break and I will start when I've added all the honey. Okay. Oh, by the way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to boil the kettle, and just when I've emptied the jars, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of water in each jar and swill it out and put that in. So I'll be back in 2 secs. Right. Empty jars of honey. Now I have 5 clear honey and 1 of that one. And you'll notice, I don't know if you can see, but there looks to be a dark blob in the middle of the honey. And that is because I've used Asda's Smart Price Clear Honey, whereas the other were Tesco's Value Clear Honey. So obviously the bees have either been feeding off a different plant. Tesco's bees have been feeding off a different plant to Asda's bees. Right, what I'm going to do now is just pour a bit of red hot water into the glasses, because there's still bits of honey and I don't want to waste any. So all I'm going to do is just put a bit of hot water in. Like that. Oh, by the way, I've turned off both rings. The reason that is on is because it's these stupid halogen bloody things. They stay hot for ages. So I've turned it off. I'm going to swish this around now with the hot water in. Just pour it in. I'm going to swap hands in a minute. Right. Try and get as much of the honey out as I possibly can. I don't think this will make a difference because I've actually put more than £4 in anyway. So I don't think it had made that much of a difference if I would have left these out. Right, so your hands get really sticky because I've spilt a bit of it as well. But I can smell that already. That smells beautiful. It smells really nice. Bit in there. Pour it in. Right. My hands are really sticky. Right, 1 spoon, sterilised. So stir that around. Right, what I'm going to do now is I want to leave that for the temperature to go down to something like 20 degrees or even less before I add the yeast. So just bear with me while I just move that, transfer it from the hob onto my chopping board, my homemade chopping board by the way. So right, so that's that. So now what I'm going to do is leave that to cool down. What are we at? Right, you can see there it's at 15. I want this to cool down to at least 20, 50, probably, I don't know, maybe about 17, something like that. It was about 55 then, you just saw it at 55 before it started coming down. So that's way too hot for me to add the yeast. So what I shall do is have a bit of a tidy up. All them jars need to go in recycling, and I'll just keep stirring this, and hopefully by leaving it in that big tub the heat will dissipate quicker than if I just poured it straight into my demijohn. So there it is so far, so I'll be back in 2 minutes. Right, it's now been half an hour and I'm still waiting for this to cool down. You can still see there's still a bit of steam off it, and I only took it up to 60 degrees. But what I've done is I've got this little bit prepared now because I'm going to start the yeast off. So in there is 200 millilitres of the stuff that came out of there. Yep, so 200 millilitres. Right. Now you'll also notice in the bottom of there's a load of shit what I've put in. a sterilised funnel as well, and that consists of, now the recipe said citric acid. I haven't got any citric acid, so I thought, right, I'll use lemon juice. So I've done 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of tannin, and 1 teaspoon of yeast nutrient. Now in here I added 2 crushed Camden tablets as well. And what I'm going to do now is use 1 teaspoon of this dried yeast. So bear with me while I get the yeast. So there we are, 1 teaspoon of yeast. Right, let's pop that there a minute. Right, thermometer is showing about 13 degrees. So I'll stick that in there. It's gone up to 20. So as you can see, it's at 20. And I think if I leave it long enough, it might go up to 20. Well, it's actually at 21. I wanted to leave this till it was below 20, but I'm bored. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the yeast in at 21 degrees, and we'll see what it does. So 1 teaspoon of yeast, 21 degrees. There you go. I'll give that a stir around. I shall give this another stir, get up a stir in this, and you'll notice I've moved it onto my stainless steel draining board to try and extract as much heat out of it as possible, because as far as I know, when you put hot stuff on metal, the metal you put it on sucks the heat out of it. But if you put it on wood, like I have, it retains the heat. So trying to stir it as much as I possibly can to get the heat out of it. The actual pan, it feels cold, but obviously it isn't. So let's look at this now then. So that's down to 10 degrees. Right. Stick that in, see what it goes up to. So that's up to 20, 25, 30, 35, and that's been half an hour. That got up to about 37 then. So I've still 17 degrees to go. Bored. So this is the yeast must. This is the must, I think you call it. So hopefully that's gonna get cracked on. It's now 20 to 2. It started cooling down at about 1ish. So I shall be back in another 10-15 minutes. Right, it has now been 60 minutes since I took that off the heat, and I'm bored, so I'm going to do it. In there I've got the yeast. Now it doesn't look to be bubbling, but we'll give it a go. And in here we've got the honey and water. Now that's showing about 28 degrees, so I'm just going to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this. Oh, by the way, that there is a vitamin B tablet, one what you get from your health food stores, whatever, and it's just one of them. Vitamin B. Now I've been told, or I've read it in a recipe, that vitamin B actually makes it ferment even better. So watch this. Boink. There it is. Vitamin B inside the jar. So I'm going to pour this in. Give that a swish around. Right, so let me shake that a minute. Right, what's happened is I probably should have added the tannin and stuff after, but I like to experiment. You don't get anywhere without trying different things. So in there is the yeast and all the other crap, and you can see, I must admit, at the bottom is a big blob of that tannin. So know what I can do about that. So I should have added that after. In fact, there's still some there, look. So what I'm going to do now is pour that into that. So here we go. Like I say, if it doesn't work out, then it's cost me a couple of quid in some honey. So I'll just pour that in there. Once if I don't spill it all.
It's time I went to B&M bargain and not to Asda. Got them for us for tonight.
Hang on.
We've probably got loads left.
Right, as you can see, there's a tiny bit left in there. and that's full up.
Are you recording him?
What?
Record me, I look shit.
What? Yeah, I am. You're going to be on YouTube again, bitch.
Are you putting it on YouTube?
Putting on how to make mead. So,
Looks like you, Ryan.
there we go. Just, I need to put them there. I need to put it there. I'm going to, hang on. In fact, just film this a little bit. So, I'm going to give that a stir around. And we'll put it up here.
They look like two bottles of different coloured urine.
So there we are. It's been an hour now, and the date now is, what day is it? Is the 11th of May. So when it starts fermenting, I shall do part 2.